This is Saitama, a man whose hobby is being a part-time superhero while having an extra shiny forehead. His daily schedule include waking up while smashing his alarm clock, having a ducky green buff before going to the grocery shop for some shopping, seeking the best discounts and deals. He also occasionally saves crying kids from overgrown muscle elf monsters, fights the occasional errors of natural selection, and sometimes super huge Kyojins who escape Paradise Island. Oh, and he usually ends all his fights with one single punch. By usually, I mean always. Of course, he wasn't all that strong from the beginning. 3 years ago, he was a salaryman like any other, and one day he saved a testicle-chinned kid, Mini Nendo-kun, from Mr. Krabs, had a fight of sorts, and then proceeded to have some giant crustacean delicacy by pulling out his eye with a tie. From there, he trained super hard and thus obtained his current Cape Baldy form. You see, he's become so strong now that one punch is all he needs to end the life of any organism on the planet. He dreams of the day when he could experience the exhilaration of a pure flight once more. And lo and behold, that day did come with the invasion of the Subterraneans. These Subterraneans dug through the earth to invade its upper crust, and obviously Saitama can't just simply let them be. Saitama goes into a semi-serious mode and they go for a nice morning exercise out on the highway, as with each of his moves a Subterranean fell. Anyway, be that as he may, he actually starts to enjoy his fight with the Subterraneans, as these guys can actually put up a fight of sorts. Just as Saitama was about to face their boss, however, though, reality kicks in and he realizes that it was all a dream. And thus off Saitama goes back to his usual daily life, hunting for supermarket deals and discounts. Unfortunate. Anyway, a couple of days later, the world takes a weirdish turn for the worse, and it seems like a massive mosquito invasion is on its way. The mosquitoes have gotten so bad that even our uber overpowered Cape Baldy is having a tough time dealing with just one of them. In any case, a wannabe shoplifter is harvested by the mosquito swarm and is drained within moments, as we see the giant mosquito girl behind it all. But not only that, there was also a random blonde cyborg that appears as well, and it seems like this cyborg is after the mosquito girl. Anyway, they launch their respective attacks. Cyborg-san loses an arm, but Mosquito-chan loses both legs. An even fight, perhaps. Mosquito-chan, though, soon makes a run for it, but not before recovering and harvesting the nearby animals in the meantime. And in doing so, Saitama also makes an appearance, apparently still chasing that same mosquito from earlier. The mosquito swarm goes berserk, and Cyborg-san burns the entire area down, and also Saitama's pants at the same time. Mosquito-chan reappears, and it seems like she's gotten several upgrades in addition to a new paint job. Our Cyborg-san at this point is no longer a match for her as he prepares to self-destruct. Saitama has had enough and slaps her into a nice patch of modern art onto a nearby wall. Cyborg-san is thus in awe and requests to be his disciple, appearing the next day by his house calling him sensei. Anyway, this cyborg is apparently called Genos and has come in pursuit of getting greater power in his quest for vengeance, as 4 years ago him and his entire family was decimated by a rogue cyborg, leaving him the sole survivor, who would have died if not for the Professor Kuseno who saved him by turning him into a cyborg himself. He thus has been looking for the evil cyborg ever since. Saitama, of course, doesn't have that long of an attention span, but he still agrees to train him. In the meantime, though, a few mobs invaded their private space. Saitama handily plants 2 of them onto the ground as Genos takes on an armored gorilla. In the meantime, though, a furry tiger dude appears and explains that they were from the House of Evolution, a place focused on advancing humanity's evolutions through any means necessary. Anyway, furry dude is no match for Saitama, as he casually complains about his broken ceiling, dodges all the furry kitty's attacks before calmly creating some permanent holes in his body. Oh, and Genos also seems to have taken down the giant gorilla at this point, who was apparently maintaining a fake robot accent somehow. Well, in any case, we are soon treated to a short intro of the man behind the House of Evolution. Apparently, he was a genius scientist who was shunned by the scientific community. He runs a little research facility named the House of Evolution, along with his clones, with the sole purpose of creating a new species of ultimate organisms and advancing human evolution. Or at least, that's what the gorilla has to say. Apparently, this boss of his is after Saitama's body. Nefarious, eh? And so Saitama and Genos thus decide to go give the dude a visit, as if they were to delay any longer, Saitama would miss the weekend supermarket promotions. In any case, Scientist Kun learns of their imminent arrival with his bros. They decide on the inevitable and chose to unleash their ultimate weapon, much to the terror of every bro present. Anyway, our heroes, Genos Kun and Saitama, runs to their HQ, and Genos instantly obliterates the building away in the name of efficiency. Efficient indeed. And deep down in the basement, we see the super weapon in question, Carnage Kabuto, who looks like a beetle with thick lips. We learn that this super weapon was actually locked up because the Scientist Kun couldn't actually control him at all. Anyway, he lets Kabuto know of the two intruders, and Kabuto rushes in, smashing Genos to a wall. Ouch. Saitama then moves into the combat training room with Kabuto, but not before Genos comes back to redeem his pride. Apparently his face wasn't smashed in completely yet, but clearly Genos-kun is no match for him as his own incendiary cannon is blown back at him. So it seems like Saitama's turn is now up. They start their little duel with Scientist Kun watching, but Kabuto soon instinctively backs away in fear. Apparently the one stare was enough to send shivers down his back. Wait, how does he sweat anyway? He thus blatantly asks how he was able to get so strong, much to the curiosity of everyone present, to which Saitama gladly reveals, and it turns out to be 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers of running. We see a brief recount of his training as he endures the pain of no aircon and continues to train until his hair was no more and he became the current Cape Baldy that he was. And of course no one believes what he just said, as Genos shows his unsatisfaction clearly and openly. Kabuto on the other hand has had enough and goes through an explosive expansion in size in Rampage mode. And apparently this Rampage mode of his lasts for an entire week, so until next Saturday, leaving Saitama in complete shock as he gets flung around the room. Saitama then realizes the grave error he's made. It's already Saturday today, and that means the supermarket promotion has already begun. He expresses his deepest regrets as Genos shows Scientist Kun the promotional flyer at the supermarket. Genos and Saitama thus hurries back to the supermarket by making their own door in the wall, and meanwhile we see some suits investigating the aftermath. Who might these guys be? Anyway, the next day we see a rogue group of lazy people in cheap body armor proclaiming something about not working and getting free money, but of course no one seems to be giving a damn. Their boss, Baldy Hammerhead, decides to smash a building to get everyone's attention, but then later realizes that he smashed the wrong building instead. Meanwhile though, we see the owner of this legendary butt, and it turns out to be the bicycle riding Moomin Rider. Moomin Rider goes to resist the Baldy group, but he gets turned into a resistor instead. Anyway, as the Baldy group moves on to their next target, we soon see a Chunibyo ninja blocking their path. He makes quick work of Hammerhead's mobs and liberate their heads. Hammerhead realizes that he's way out of his depth and tries to attack, but soon ends up with a shuriken to the back of his head. He survives though and soon makes a run for it. He meets the actual caped Baldy and tries to intimidate him by giving his shiny forehead a nice smack. Hammerhead-kun then decides to use the spin arms attack as Saitama easily strips him nude as he runs away again. Saitama soon runs into Ninja-kun afterwards, who obviously believes that Saitama was a Hammerhead-gun as well since he's bald. And Ninja-kun doesn't believe what Saitama is saying. He then tries to kick Saitama but lands his balls in an terrible spot with his nuts cracking. Ninja-kun thus has to make a run for it as well, but not before introducing himself as Sonic the Ninja. Anyhow, later Saitama shares his day with Genos as Genos continues to want to be his disciple, but Saitama reveals that even after 3 years of killing countless mobs and monsters, nobody still knows who he is. Genos thus suggests that they sign on as official heroes in the Anti-Disaster Hero Association. This name always cracks me up. Saitama obviously agrees and says that he'll take Genos on as his disciple if they sign up together, and thus off they go. Anyway, we soon see the top brass of the Hero Association as they discuss the new hero exam, and apparently Genos is an important candidate of note. By the way, Genos wrote here that his reason for application was so that he could become an apprentice law. The duo then begin their series of ability tests amidst the crowd as Saitama shows off his ultimate superiority to the nearby mobs and sends them packing. Later, the soon-to-be master and disciple meet again, and Saitama learns that Genos received a full 100 marks, earning him the S rank. Wow. Saitama checks his as well, and it appears to be S rank 2 or not? Genos gets mad as he realizes that he read the file wrongly, and they both go to the new hero interview later on, led by an A rank called Snack. But clearly, neither Genos or Saitama cares. The duo later learned that the association was opened by a dude with a curiously similar double chin, whose grandchild was saved by a passerby 3 years ago. Wonder who that is. Anyway, Genos now becomes Saitama's official disciple, and later we see Snack learning of the pair's incredible scores during the test. Feeling insecure, Snack-kun goes up to do some newbie crushing, but he gets himself crushed instead. A few days later, Genos tells Saitama of the existence of hero nicknames as the pair prepares to do some light sparring. Genos takes his spar very seriously as he unleashes all the moves in his arsenal, but Saitama simply evades and dodges every single one of them. Sensing the need for even more speed, Genos increases his attacks but soon loses sight of Saitama once again. He manages to catch on, but even then his ultimate move was once again evaded. Genos gets mad a little bit and requests for a more serious deathmatch and that Saitama stop fooling around. He does stop fooling around and launches a punch of epic proportions and blows away the mountain behind Genos in the process. Later, the pair goes for some udon as Genos quickly burns the udon calories in. Amai Mask, the current ranked 1 A-class hero, soon makes an appearance and talks to Genos for a bit, to which nothing really happened in the end except for a few short phrases and some fangirling. Anyway, the pair goes back home only for Genos to return later with his bags and rent money. Moving in, I see. Genos soon begins his hero studies, and Saitama learns that C-rank heroes like him needs to complete a quota of good deeds every single week, otherwise they'll get removed from the hero registry altogether. Saitama panics as he desperately gets stressed, but also at the same time invents some sort of random goal for Genos to strive for, telling him to break into the top 10 of the S ranks. Saitama then storms into the entire city, flips some skirts, but finds absolutely nothing but peace. Fortunately, Sonic the now ballless ninja appears and Sonic Sun attacks, earning the ire of Saitama, but not before a civilian sends a complaint about Saitama for running around the town too much. Tank Top Tiger pops by to try to get some clout, but soon he gets shown his place by Sonic. Sonic thus begins acting like a complete villain, causing random vandalism and forcing Saitama to save the civilians. But then he also realizes that Sonic was the perfect bad guy he needed for his quota, and therefore sends him to the pavement. Later we see some Hero Association guys talking about City Z, the city Saitama is living in, and we see that two heroes, Golden Ball and Spring Moustache, has been sent to investigate the ghost town within the city. The ghost town is said to be completely abandoned, actually not really because Saitama lives there, as the pair is soon assaulted by a kelp monster. Golden Ball shoots a ball and gets deflected, then he gets himself made into a yo-yo ball instead. Spring Moustache fares a little bit better with his rapier and long moustache as he unleashes his tomboy thrust. These names, man. Kelp-chan easily evades and Moustache-kun thus has to secretly call for some reinforcements. And as the potential reinforcements eat their lunch, Moustache-kun has already been stripped naked by this point. Kelp-chan soon meets Saitama-kun and Kelp-chan gets turned into kelp, more specifically kelp soup. And in doing so, Genos-kun mistakenly assumes that his master was trying to get his hair back. Unfortunate. Anyway, the failure in the ghost town spreads around as we see an S-ranked loli named Tatsumaki throwing a tantrum, and also some random heroes discovering the last remains of Kelp-chan. That's a waste of food, my man. In any case, it seems like the ghost town that Saitama is living in has grown even more famous at this point, as Saitama himself seems to have gotten a few ranks at this point. In any case, a meteor that came out of nowhere soon arrives on a collision path to Earth and is set to hit City Z. Genos is thus summoned to the City Z Hero Association and he meets the third ranked S-class hero, Super Fang. They both learn of the incoming meteor as the order for evacuation is given out to the civilians. Genos rushes to a nearby high ground as he puts on his new upgrades in order to stop the meteor. Another S-class hero, the ranked 7th Metal Knight, also appears, though he came here really just to test his weapons and not much else. He fires them all at the meteor, but nothing much happens. Genos thus decides that he's the last remaining chance the city has to survive, and via Silver Fang's help, he manages to shed his doubts and use his core as additional power for his cannon, and fires the ultimate incineration cannon, though the cannon doesn't really do much. And just then, Saitama makes his grand appearance as he leaps into the sky, smashes through the meteor, and saves the city, though in doing so he sends millions of small debris into the city as well, basically ruining it. And 3 days later, despite City Z being saved, the carnage is real. Saitama's acts of heroism has earned him some new points as he shot up to rank 5 in the C class. However, that didn't earn him any of the respect that he deserved, as he soon found out later on outside. He is ostracized by the jealous tank top brothers who try to frame him for destroying the city. The more foolish of the citizens fall for their ploy, but little did they know that Saitama is built different, as the dumb tank top mentally challenged brothers get sent flying one by one. Saitama, however, proudly proclaims to the nearby foolish masses that he was indeed the one who destroyed the meteorite, and he also said that he doesn't give two damns about what they thought about their destroying new cars or damage or whatever, as Genos comes by to accompany him home, having witnessed the entire scene before him. Anyway, we soon see something nefarious lurking in the depths of the ocean. And soon a giant Greek hentai squid appears out of nowhere on the streets, but that squid soon gets smashed by Saitama. Our rank 1 C-class Moomin Rider rushes to the scene and learns of his name. Although this wasn't the end, as even more creatures of the deep sea soon invade. The A-ranked hero Stinger appears with his brush spear, but we soon see him reaching his limits as he takes out the remaining seafood, but not before he gets taken out as well by an extra thick fish. Yabai. In the meantime, Saitama and Genos, who also received the news, now rush to the scene. Soon, the Hero Association raises the threat level as the Thick Fish King proudly walks the streets. Lightning Max also joins the fight later on as well, but he is no match for the Thick Fish at all as he gets sent flying. But not before he gets saved by the S-ranked hero Puri Puri Prisoner. Basically Nendo-kun in a hero suit, if you know who that guy is. Puri Puri Prisoner then says that he fancied both Stinger and Max, and in his rage, he destroys his lover's hand-knitten sweater. Oh no. Anyway, Fish-kun and Puri Puri Prisoner browse for a bit, and Puri Puri Prisoner soon shows his ultimate transformation, the Puri Puri Prisoner Angel style. Yikes. Anyway, that combo didn't seem to do much work on Fish-kun as he soon takes out Puri Puri-chan with a proper combo. Sonic soon faces off against the fish too as he uses his speed to his advantage, annoying the fish quite a lot, but Fish-kun soon strikes back, and Sonic-chan has to escape as well, leaving his clothes behind. Moving on, Fish-kun then decides to assault an evacuation shelter filled with humans. Fish-kun rejects the humans' offer of surrender, and just as he was about to strike, other heroes in hiding also appears, including Snack-kun. Meanwhile, Saitama is hitching a ride with Moomin Rider as Moomin Rider received news of the shelter's attack. Meanwhile, Snack and Co. is quickly obliterated by Thick Fish-kun, and Saitama finds Moomin Rider's phone and also learns of the attack on the shelter. Genos has already engaged Thick Fish at this point as he blows him away, though his carelessness soon costs him one of his arms. Nice punch though. Moomin Rider also paddles his way to the shelter as Genos steals himself for another round with the Thick Fish. Man, these animations are immense. Here's why you should pay your animators properly, boys and girls, or just outsource them. There's a reason why this first season was so spectacular. Anyway, Genos in his rush to save a brat gets himself stripped to his bare inner frame, and just then a bike slams into Thick Fish-kun as Moomin Rider reinforces Genos, but as he's only a C class, he really couldn't do much, though his tenacity is that of an S class for sure, as he perseveres on despite knowing that he can't win. His heroism buys just enough time for Saitama to arrive, however. Thick Fish-kun doesn't realize just how up he is, and he slaps Saitama's shiny forehead and soon gets a custom-made hole in his body instead. Also, the rain stopped. Anyway, the crowd soon cheers for his heroic punch of death, but soon a reject of society ruins his moment and leads everyone to believe that Saitama cheated. Surprisingly, Saitama also joins in the farce, saying that he also cheated, leading the crowd to really believe that was the case. Truly unfortunate, gullible masses, ever unchanging. Little do they realize that fame means nothing to a man built as differently as Saitama. Anyway, many angry letters find themselves to Saitama, though there was one letter of gratitude. Saitama also gets himself promoted to rank 1 in the process, as he gets himself an interview with some arrogant snobs in the association. He is also offered to be promoted to B class, which he agrees. In the meantime, the media brutally attacks the failed heroes in this incident, quite unfairly I might add. Anyway, Anyway, Saitama meets Moomin Rider at an Oden shop as Moomin Rider congratulates Saitama on his promotion. They have a little nice supper there, though we soon have some terrible news as a clairvoyant Shibaba goes crazy. But anyway, that's not important as a giant dinosaur also now stalks the land. And C-130 soon approaches to tackle the monster and drops its payload, which just so happens to be the S-Class Tatsumaki. As she faces off against the dinosaur, though not before a call from the association arrives. Anyhow, Tatsumaki gets mad for being a chibi as she handily sends a meteor down. Once more as we transition into the S-Class Surafang's dojo. Apparently, Saitama and Genos were also there as guests as an association staff soon comes by to announce the emergency, saying that all S-Class heroes have been summoned. They go off and Genos invites Saitama along as they reach the HQ. We see another S-Rank, the Atomic Samurai, and also lowly chibi Tatsumaki there as well. The meeting soon begins as we are introduced to the current ranks of the S-Class heroes, each with their unique characteristics. In any case, the big shots arrive and they detail the scenario where their long-trusted clairvoyant seer Baba, Shibabawa, has passed away after saying something about Earth being in danger, without telling them any details on what exactly the danger was. Anyway, the place soon gets attacked as we see a few birdmen striking from the skies. These birdmen are soon skewered by a strange mob and a giant spaceship appears and obliterates the city. We see what few survivors and heroes are left alive as Saitama casually exits the building and takes a look at the giant spaceship. The monster soon splits into 5 selves as the rest of the S-Class heroes step in. Though no matter how many times they slice them up, the monsters keep regenerating, but they keep attacking anyway. The other S-Class heroes in the meantime wonder how they are going to face that giant spaceship, while on the other hand, Saitama has already infiltrated the enemy ship, causing quite the internal damage within. Meanwhile, a squid-like mob is apparently running the command center as the true boss, Lord Boros, makes his appearance. The S-Class heroes on the ground, however, soon reaches a standstill as none of the attacks are fatal. They do, however, discover a hidden orb thingy and realize that that was apparently a weak spot. Anyway, Saitama goes deeper and deeper into the ship and discovers their command center as he comes face to face with their little octopus commander. Octopus Takoyaki unleashes his gravity powers, but they don't do much against Saitama, and then he gets a pebble to his face and dies. That was fast. Meanwhile, an alien gunner prepares to fire the big guns on the heroes. However, Tatsumaki is present and she sends all the shells back to the ship, leaving the gunner in much shock. In the meantime though, evacuations are well on the way as the S-Class heroes gradually eliminate more and more orbs, leaving only one head remaining. Saitama comes into contact with the boss waiting in the throne room and learns that this man has come from the cosmos in his quest to challenge the strong after conquering an untold number of planets. But enough chatter. Saitama sends a punch his way, but the boss actually survives this time. Saitama says okay as the two begins their inevitable duel. Anyway, the tank top musclehead gets shown his place as Tatsumaki sends flying debris into the ship as makeshift missiles, leading to mass monster panic. On the other hand, the last Marblehead soon meets its end. Anyway, Saitama and Finals Boss Kun's duel gets more and more fired up, little by little as Boss Kun unleashes more of his powers and creates a firestorm. Saitama survives as we are treated to a PowerPoint presentation about Boss Kun's history. Fortunately, Saitama shuts him up, and we enter the later stages of this face-off. Saitama takes a massive number of hits before getting propelled onto the moon. He gets back though and leaves a pretty shocked Boss-kun. The fight continues, but Saitama attacks this time and forces Boss-kun to unleash his final move, which would consume much of his own life force in the process. Saitama thus also unleashes his own power move, and as we approach the end, a defeated Boss-kun laments his lack of power as he realizes that Saitama still had power to spare in the fight even after all that. The ship thus crashes with its owner now dead, along with its alien crew. A mind mask then makes his unwelcome appearance as he comes by to berate the poor performance of the S-Class heroes, calling them pathetic for allowing such wanton destruction to begin with. Metal Knight also appears with his drones as he begins to harvest the remains of the alien spaceship. Anyway, Saitama soon makes his way out as he and Genos have a nice reunion. Tatsumaki is ignored in the process as the lowly chibi throws another tantrum, but not before smashing Genos to a nearby wall. Anyway, this little alien episode also concludes our story of the strongest caped Baldy so far. As they rebuild, it is also time for us to say goodbye to you viewers. We hope you enjoyed the little story, and if you did, please drop a like or a sub as it helps us out greatly. We hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care and goodbye.